Hello, everybody. I'm Jalen, and today we're going to get a really good start on building an Elven themed base, which we're going to use to fill this giant cave we've been exploring the last couple episodes. I'm real excited to get going on that, and just so I'm not stuck down there the whole time, I will come up here and do a little something in this area. I'm really liking the trees we got put in here, and I just want to do a little more to add to the vibe here. But I wanted to start things off in the cave, and anytime I'm getting going on a new big project, one of the first things I like to do is get a path laid out, just because it makes it a lot easier to just kind of visualize things and get an idea for scale and all that. So definitely put in a good amount of work just getting organized around here, and I will say we're going to get a lot done today, but this is definitely the start of what's going to be a very long-term project. I do kind of see this as being an area that I really try to expand on over the years to come. This is going to be one of my main areas. This cave is just really expansive. We'll explore it here in a second. And this will be my first time building in one of these giant caves we got way back in the Caves and Cliffs update. I'm yet to even jump into one of these, so I'm really looking forward to that. And I like the idea of going with the Elven theme here, just because I think it's going to be really fun building with all white blocks best I can. I think they'll pop really good in the cave. And yeah, even just getting the path laid out here, you can see that the white blocks and just brighter colors are going to kind of turn the darkness of the cave into a bit of an advantage, just making everything else pop really good against the darkness. But wanted to give you a little reminder of just how cool this whole cave system is here. This area back here is just really cool, especially now that we got it lit up a little better. Gonna have the river running down here through it with some buildings along the side, and just have it connect up to our main area over here. And this cave system is just awesome. Got an awesome deep dark area off to the left, which we'll do something with at some point. And this area right down here is where I plan on kind of being my main base of operations. We'll fill this wall and floor in here and give ourselves some room to work. We'll build our main base right here, just going into the wall, and then gonna have some crop farms going into this wall over here. We'll fill in the hole and make it look a little better. Then up top we'll have a big tree farm. We'll fill in some dirt up here and expand the area to work. And yeah, nice tall ceiling, so there's enough room for trees. And I also had to remind you that just about 100 blocks away, we got this really cool area as well, which is another giant cave. When you walk over to the other side, this is a really big cave itself. Not quite as big as the other one, but it's got this lava floor. This is a real special cave. And in here, I plan on doing a dwarven theme. So I'm just real excited about this whole cave system, and it's going to keep me busy for a while. But yeah, I didn't want to start the episode with a grinding session, but I definitely did some prep before jumping into the project and kind of throwing things kind of out of order here a little bit. But yeah, I did a bunch of gathering to make this work, including a bunch of quartz, and first time shearing up some sheep, just trying to collect all the different kind of white blocks, just so I have some options to work with. And this is actually my first time working with the animals down here at all this whole season, so that's good to finally get established a little bit. And I was also running low on dirt, so I just did a little prepping in the area that I plan on building a little later in the episode, getting a stream ready that we'll fill in here a little later. And I'm going to be building into this wall here eventually, doing something, so I just dug some stone out of there, kill two birds with one stone, prepare it for later, as well as digging up a bunch of diorite when I was down in the cave. And then I remembered to use snow, which I had a bunch of snow available, and that works out perfect for this build. And lastly, I did a decently long little AFK session because I am going to need a whole bunch of bone meal, because I do plan on using a good amount of moss. And since we were up at level 30, I enchanted my chest plate here and got a decent chest plate, so we're working towards getting our armor enchanted, and then I'll start wearing it. Got some trees chopped down. Then for the first time, I'm letting something carry over from Season 1, and that is that I remembered not far from our base that we're all set up at, we had this trowel ruins over here. And I'm not messing with the trial ruins. I'm actually not even very well prepared for it. I was actually a little scared of the trial ruins at this time, but I do want the copper. With my theme I got going, I couldn't help but want to build with a bunch of copper, so I just came over here, got a nice safe room, and just cleared out a bunch of the oxidized copper here. And that's a pretty good amount of copper blocks there. That'll go a long way using the stone cutter. But yeah, I was ready to get building our base here. I'm gonna use this area, the main building being right here against this pillar, because that's where we have our ladder going up to the surface level. And snow was the last thing I thought of when it came to using white blocks to build, but it actually looks better than I thought. I was planning on just using it to kind of shape out my builds, but I end up liking just how much it pops, and I think it actually looks pretty good, especially when I start mixing in the quartz. I just use quartz as kind of the outside edge, which will act as a shadow almost. But yeah, just build the buildings up with snow. I will come and texture things a little bit, but I was figuring I was going to need to texture things more, but I end up liking the snow quite a bit. And yeah, we end up going with a similar shape of houses we've built before, a little taller, a little grander. And off to the side, I put more of like a round barn-shaped building, I guess you would say. I think they're going to go well together once we get a roof put on. And then over in the corner here, we'll put a little round tower with kind of a gazebo-style top eventually. But for now, we're just kind of getting the shapes in and getting things laid out so you can kind of see my plan for the area. We'll be coming back and actually putting things together. But yeah, you can see the scale I'm going for. Go ahead and fill this floor in. I go with some deep slate slabs first just so it looks better from underneath, but I do use dirt because I am going to go around with a bunch of moss and just bring some life to the area. And then eventually I'll end up going with like some more fantasy style when it comes to the terrain and landscaping, but for now I'm just going to kind of use moss. And yeah, I fill in the wall behind, and that way we can just kind of build the buildings into the wall. And here I was going to give you a nice little view, and I swear I was crouched. Guess not. That was a bad death. Not only was I just about to have all my diamond armor enchanted, but it spawned me way over by the trial ruins, which was almost 1,000 blocks away from my base, so I had a long trek to go. And I could have been smarter and grabbed some food from the village before I just started running, but I didn't realize it was as far away as it really was, so I barely made it home. Then I get shot by a skeleton after already being attacked, and I'm down to 0 hearts, which I've seen happen a couple times now. I don't know if that's something that happened in a new update, but it's happened to me a few times now. But we barely made it back, couldn't get much closer than that. 0 hearts and not healing because we had no food. So that was a close call. But went ahead and slept the night away, go ahead and make our way back to the cave and pick up our stuff, and then I was ready to just jump back into work, and I was decided to get going on the terraces here for some little crop fields just coming off this wall here, and I think it ends up looking really cool. Trying to have all the platforms at different levels and getting 6 platforms made for the 6 main crops. Then I went and filled in the hole behind and just did a little terraforming, make it look a little nicer. Slowly but surely, things are starting to come together down here, and I'm really liking this idea for the little terraces for the crops. And they don't need to be huge fields by any means. Obviously, I've got crop fields everywhere, but I'm just trying to have access to everything down here in the cave. And yeah, my plan is to have a big waterfall coming from the top and just having different ponds where the water ponds up and spills over into different waterfalls, working all the way down to the bottom level down there. And this is going to be a big pond, so I need to fill it in. So I used some deep slate slabs and stone slabs just to save on resources a little bit, even though I regretted that when I was filling it up with water later, but it wasn't too big a deal. And yeah, we're going to work our way up here. We'll have a waterfall coming down here, going off both sides here. And up here will be another area that I need to fill in to have a little pond. And this is going to be our tree farm area. We'll extend it out a little bit and just have all the different tree types up here. They'll all be able to grow with a nice tall ceiling. And we'll have the pond here with the water dropping over and working all the way down to the bottom floor. And I got sidetracked here and decided to get rid of a bunch of the skulk down here. I figured for the main area I'll get rid of the skulk. I was using my sword and my shovel, getting some with the silk touch. But then I tested my efficiency 4 mending hoe. And I quickly realized this is one of the more satisfying things in Minecraft here. You get tons of XP, it just goes through it insta-mine. You can see I got up to level 36 really fast. I obviously mined a good amount of skulk here, but definitely a good way to get XP, and it looks better down here without the skulk. Then I got back on track working on my waterfall situation up here, and it was actually a really fun little project, just figuring out where to have the water pool up and just pathing out where it all went. Definitely a bit of a grind getting this all together, but well worth it. Like I said, using the slabs was a mistake though, because filling the water ended up being a little annoying in some cases, but we did get it all pathed out, and now we got a nice waterfall going through our crop fields there, hydrating the fields. We'll need to add a little more later, but definitely looking cool. And it just looks so much better down here not having the skulk, so much brighter, and I'm really looking forward to naturefying that area as well and just doing all kinds of things, just opening up our options. But I figured, given my history, I better get to enchanting while I'm this high. So I got myself a new Fortune 3 pickaxe, a much better one than the one I had. Feather falling on my boots, didn't get anything else unfortunately. Got another decent shovel, my other one was getting pretty low, and then I went out and had to get a bunch of coal to get a few extra levels, and I needed the coal. And I got my diamond helmet enchanted, so now we got all our diamond armor enchanted, so I'm finally wearing it after all this time. I think that's about 2 months into this season, and I'm putting diamond armor on for the first time. Shows you how I play. And yeah, while we're up here, I thought I'd work on this little project in the area down here. I thought it'd be fun to build a little campsite type thing, even though we got the tree houses right there for someone to stay at. I think a big fireplace just kind of as a centerpiece would be a really cool idea, and I ended up just putting a little campsite around it, and I think it ends up looking really cool. I'm just gonna let it play out here for a second. This was a really fun little side project, and it's a perfect example of just, even though there's really no point to this area, but just put in little effort, and now it's an area that I'm going to be walking by all the time, and it just looks a lot better than just leaving it vanilla there. I really like the little tent I got here. And as always, getting the moss spread around the water just looks really good. I just really like how this little area came together here. But then it was time for my last big building push of the episode and really start to bring the area to life. I am going pretty big with this build, as you can see. Kind of, rather than building one building at a time, I'm going kind of a bunch of different projects all at the same time, so that does result in the details coming together a little slower, but I figure we'll get a good layout today at least, and next episode I'll probably make a good progress on the details. But yeah, we'll get through the hard stuff, like getting the roof in is always one of the main resource takers, and getting this roof even organized, kind of going with the gazebo style. I think that's just kind of represents the Elven theme a little bit. And I tried to make the buildings a little different than other ones I've built by giving them these nice big entrances. Just differentiates them from other houses of similar shapes I've built. And as I keep building down here, I do want to have a much more open builds as I go. I think that's just kind of what I think of when I think of an Elven theme. And yeah, like I said, I am just going to spread a bunch of moss around for now. It just really does bring some life to the cave. In the future, I do plan on going with some more fantasy elements, whether it be like just oversized flowers or some kind of alien plant of some kind. But for now, the moss really does bring it to life a little bit, and getting these trees planted and really coming together. Then I went around with some deep slate to blend the crop platforms into the wall a little better here, as well as put the diorite borders on the field, which I think looks really good. And then went around and got them all hydrated and tilled up and planted, and once the crops grow here, they're going to look really cool. Then I went around and with some warped fence along the path border there, and I think it looks really good just with the color we got going on in the cave here, especially with the skulk, but even though that'll be disappearing over time. Then I got filling in the area and extended the tree farm up here a little bit, and planted moss, went crazy all over the place up here. Then I got planting all the different tree types. So now in the cave we got all the crops and all the tree types growing, so we're going to be pretty self-sustainable down here at this point, which was the whole goal. And yeah, got this tree farm looking really cool up here. I'm really liking bringing the life down into the cave. And here's just another example of how crazy this cave system is, as I just found this area, which is another huge cave. And it just connects right up to the main area, essentially, if I dig through the wall there just a little bit. So this is definitely a cave system that can keep me busy for as long as I want it to. But yeah, I really like the tree farm up here. Obviously, we'll really make it look cool when we come and give it a path and just do some decorating and stuff. But just having all the different tree types is going to be nice. Make it so I can stay down here for a while. Especially when the trees grow in, it's going to look cool. And the view from up here is really cool. Now, as we got the roofs put in and our buildings are looking pretty good down there. And imagine when we start getting more and more buildings spread around here all over the place. This place just has so much potential. I'm just so excited to get going here. Probably as excited as I've been jumping into a project, at least in a very long time. And yeah, our little waterfall system down here came together real nicely. Got our different pools with just the waterfall dropping down and making its way all the way down to the bottom floor. We'll extend that in a different direction. And yeah, this is the coolest little waterfall system I've ever had. And getting just the moss spread in, as always, just a simple addition, but it just really looks good. And I like how we got it dropping down and acting as the hydration for the crop fields here. I think it looks really good, and I think the diorite just really pops on the crop fields. And now that the crops are growing in and we got our buildings just put together, I'm just couldn't be more excited about this whole area. And again, even though we did get a whole lot done this episode, this is all going to be getting upgraded over time, so it's going to be really fun watching it come together. Next episode, I plan on coming and working on the area down here and just kind of detailing everything we've built already. Obviously, we don't have any interior or anything. I'm far from interior here, and we got to get our elevator up to the top level there built. But I'm pretty happy with the progress we got today. I just wanted to get this episode out. I'm trying to be closer to an episode a week, and this just ended up taking a lot of time here. So figured I'd go ahead and call it at this point. And as always, I'd like to thank you all for coming and have a good day.